Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the narcissists and how they play the victim. So let's jump in. So what you'll find a lot of times is the narcissists, they always play the victim when they come in and they meet you. They will tell you, of course, all the abuse that they were carrying on with and causing to whoever they were with before you. They're going to make the accusation their ex, while they come into you for the first time and love bomb you, their ex was using them and abusing them, mistreating them. It could be anything. The problem with the narcissist, they have no limit to the depths of their lies. And what's dangerous about that is they will go as far as accusing people of anything, as long as they can win, or as long as they can see themselves looking like this innocent individual that is the victim. But then when they suck all your fuel, that was with the ex, now they suck all your fuel, and then they get pompous and froward and arrogant because your fuel is so good, y'all. If you have the empathic fuel, the primary source, or the grade A supply, or if you're the generational curse breaker, and at that time when you met them, you were unawoke. When you awaken, you start to learn about narcissism, you will find that your fuel is different than everybody else's. Your fuel is the primo fuel. That's why they call you the grade A, the prime. And it's at another level. It's kind of like comparing diesel fuel in a car to jet fuel. And you're the jet fuel grade. It makes whatever machinery it's in run clean. It's flawless, meaning when the narcissist steals your fuel, your emotional field, and they walk around with your essence on, they are flawless at acting out whatever evil that they want to do. It's almost as if when you see a lot of children getting abused, and this is what is related to all narcissism, whenever you see children getting abused, generally speaking, it's going to be narcissists doing it, because humanity just doesn't do these types of things. And that's why I say humanity is not generally as bad as we think it is. But we have all these narcissists that are involved, are zipped up in meat suits, that are acting or looking and faking like they're humanity, but they're really not. And people are waiting for the aliens to come. And, I've been trying to tell you for years, those guys are here already. They're called narcissists. Because when you don't feel love, you're willing to do anything. Anything evil. Evil is not a word to you. What evil is synonymous with is just winning by any means necessary, no matter what line they have to cross, what boundary or lie they have to tell, evil, malicious thing they have to do to get to the finish line. It doesn't matter who they have to wreck or how many. They draw off children because they always want innocent fuel, or fuel that is unawoke, trying to help them still when they're obviously corrupt to a point of no return. The empath will still be out there trying to help them, the unawoke empath. And even when you do wake up, you try to help because you are attached to them, or you care, or you're energetically attached. And so you still will try, even though you know what you know, for a time, until you completely cut those cords and break all those chains. You're going to be still energetically tied to them. Just because you woke up does not separate your energetic cords. It doesn't detach you from them. It's the beginning of it. But a lot of times there's a whole lot of hell to be had, even at that point. Once you wake up is the beginning of you drawing away from them. It's the start. You can be awoke to it and just accept it. And some people get beat down long enough and hard enough to where they just accept it. And they even can define narcissism, define the individual they're with as a narcissist, and still agree to stay with them and to do all of the necessary things to balance them out and to accept all of their negative energy continually. They accept failure. They accept the fact that they're never going to love themselves, and they're going to accept that they're going to have no boundaries with toxic individuals. They're going to continue to push and push and push and carry all the weight, a ton of rocks in a backpack. You're carrying the whole load of the world. The narcissist is putting on your shoulders, and you're agreeing to carry it because they don't do anything. They don't do anything in the house and the home to help. They don't do anything to care for you or for the family. They don't do any chores. The money they make is their money, and the money you make is their money. And when they leave you, they wreck you. So anything that you have saved or conserved, or any items or objects or anything you have on a 3D level, is going to be gone, because they're going to take it all. Or they're going to fight you till the end, until the ship goes down, and they'll lose everything as long as they feel they have the upper hand. They don't care, even if they have to lose everything too. They're ridiculous, little arrogant, pompous fools. And the people they get involved in schemes with are fools as well. They're narcissists as well. And you would think they would get the inkling. They're going to stab everybody in the back. Whoever they're working with, or whoever they're scheming with, or whoever they're hanging out with, eventually they're going to stab each other in the back too. When you're a narcissist, you might as well call yourself a thief. You're a thief. You're a person, a man, or a woman of the streets. You have no morals. You have no ethics. But they like to get around children, some of them, if they can, because they can draw off children. Children are the most innocent. And if they can wear children's energy, children also have the ability to manifest, because children have this faith to where the 3D does not hinder them. Christ would talk about how you have to have childlike faith to get saved, because that's what it takes. It takes that kind of a faith unwilling to allow the 3D to convince you that it's not true, because you can't see it. That's what he was talking about, having childlike faith to reach salvation. Or if you take and look at a child can have faith to believe things in their innocence no adult would ever imagine. So they have the ability to manifest with childlike emotional fields. And they know this stuff because it's all spiritual. And if they draw off, let's say they have a lot of children, or if they work for some sort of agency or work around children, you'll find them in schools and all kinds of things. These crooked, corrupt, nasty people, they're narcissists. And they will take that energy, and they will be able to get sometimes jobs that have titles or in the legal system. And if they have a lot of children or innocent supply sources around them that they are feeding off of, because you're just food to them, fuel is food. They're energy vampires. It's like a vampire that's not taking your blood, not yet anyway. They'll do that too for adrenaline. They will take that energy and they will be cloaked in it. And when they're cloaked in it, the child doesn't know they're being projected on. And they're just like you or I was when we were children. They were getting projected on, and they were accepting it because they couldn't tell the difference between their energy and the other person's energy. In fact, a lot of us didn't know it until we woke up to narcissism and started to realize that there are energies out here that are different. We knew it, but we knew it instinctively in an intuitive way, but we didn't really focus on it. So it would lead you, but it would lead you on an intuitive level with like clairvoyance and different types of spiritual gifts that you have. Empaths have spiritual gifts. They're heavy in spiritual gifts, and that's why they come to you as well, because you're close to the Almighty. You grew up around caregivers and people that have abused you. I mean, and you didn't become like them. You refused it and rejected it for love. You were relentless that you were going to love, but you didn't focus on loving yourself. And that's the primary thing. They want you to be sidetracked. They want you to give and give and give. When they find a black sheep, they don't want them to be a narcissist because they can feed off them. If they have a narcissist child, then they're not going to be able to feed off them. So they don't really want, they'd rather be around empathic people, especially if they're stuck around them. so they can feed off them, and then they can cloak themselves in that energy, and they can go out and get a court judge job, and they can be cloaked in child's energy every day, and it's innocent. So when people talk to them and deal with them on a legal level, they could be lying straight to their face, the judge that's wearing this children's cloaked energy, and the people are going to look at them like an innocent child. I mean, or an innocent individual, like they're completely telling the truth, because innocence is what masks truth telling. They are instantly believed. The problem comes when people wake up and they cut cords with them, and then it'll be a time in their life, because God has these things programmed and set up to where this is not going to go unpunished. They may think so, and you may think so, because it's gone on for a long time and they've got everybody duped. But eventually, they call, what do they say? Karma is the slow, patient gangster, because it's like, it's going to come for you, and nobody on the earth is going to decide its fate. It has its own fate. It has its own rule book. And a lot of it is based on the foundations of the earth and what God put into the foundations of the earth, the laws, the rules. Those are the true positions of power. If there were just like no authorities around, it was like in a lawless type society, you would still get judgment. It would come from the foundations of the earth. It would come from the spirit. The spirit would become where a place like that would be. The spirit of the Lord would become the judge. If and when there's gaps in places in time where there's areas of the world where there is no judge, there is no law, when there's lawless times, those people get it. And the people that are protected are the people that are living with certain statutes that they abide by, that are God protecting. So they'll wear this energy, and you have that innocent jet fuel. When you're unawoke, you want to believe the narcissist, you're spellbound, you're in it to win it, and they're hurt, I guess, unconsciously, so you want to help them. It could be conscious as well, but you still could be unawoke. Without defining something, you have a harder time with cutting through the confusion of it. That's why I always say, when you understand and you can put a title to the situation that is narcissism, you have a lot more clarity in your life if you are willing to put the time in to learn and understand how these people work and operate, so that you can avoid them or minimize the attacks and deal with them getting judgment called upon themselves. The problem comes when, like, a judge or somebody that's doing these things, they either get outed in the media or outed amongst their colleagues, then the mask falls off and everybody sees them for who they are, and all cords get cut, because people start realizing real quick. I mean, it's very simple. It's common sense. But if I have any dealings with this individual, I'm going to look like the corrupt one as well, and I'm going to get judgment called on me just by being associated with them. So all law officials will cut ties with them, and that's the righteous ones. And they may have done, just righteous work with them, but they don't want nothing to do with them. They're going to stay away, cut ties with them, because they know they're upside down on their scales. And God hates unequal scales. He wants balance. God is a balanced God. He wants things to be equal. You should give people a good day's work for a good day's pay, because he doesn't like that. It's not balanced when you go to work and, yeah, you're getting paid a good price, but you're not giving them good work. These are ways where you curse yourself. And these are ways you uncover yourself from the protection of the Almighty. They will come in vulnerable and they wear your fuel. When these things happen and they'll get caught up in all this corruption, then they will play the victim again. Shift blame. They're blame shifters. Blame shift onto you or somebody else, everybody around them, because it's never their fault. So they put their shields up and they lie. The best liar is a narcissist, because they're relentless with it, and they will continue to double down, and they will look straight faced, or they will put the face on that's needed. Whatever it takes, they'll apply it. They'll apply the correct face, and they won't have any remorse, because they don't feel any love. and they have no loyalty or allegiance to anybody or anything. So they don't care who they hurt, and that's why they can put on straight faces, or they could put on a smile, or they could put on a frown, or they could give you crocodile tears. Crocodile tears are the tears the crocodile makes when they're chewing on their prey to lubricate their eyes, just so you know. That's what that is derived from. Part of the process of them lubricating their eyes when they're chewing on their prey. And just so you know, you're the prey that they're chewing on while they're tearing up to water their eyes, to lubricate them. They are not worth, when you wake up to this, spending any more time on, because if there hasn't been a breakthrough by now, you're not probably going to be the first one to break through and to heal a narcissist. The Word of God talks about subject to these individuals. What's interesting, if you are a person that's unawoke but living by the correct righteousness as far as how God wants you to live, I guess what I'm saying is you could protect yourself with the Word, and I don't want to take away from that, because if you live by the Word correctly, then you will gain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding through the Word to avoid these people and to avoid these situations, to respond and not react. All of these things are in the Word. If you're willing to either put the work in the Word and really value what it is saying and let it go into your mind, heart, and your soul, like it says, down to the bone and the marrow. If you absorb the Word that way, you will protect yourself just as much, if not more, than knowing all the red flags of the narcissist and how they act and how they operate and how to avoid them and how to minimize your attacks and to work on your healing. You'll just get it out of the Word. You'll be operating in your true authenticity. It will be in a protection around you. You can learn the principles outside the Word, but the original principle is always rooted in the Word. And if you've learned about narcissism or you woke up to it, if you read the Word, you will see narcissism all throughout the Word in its fine print. And you may have seen all of these things before it didn't register like it does after you've experienced it. And that goes to say, when we are obedient and live by the Word because it's telling us the righteous way to live, we may not know what the repercussions are if we don't live by that obedience, but because we love the Lord, we're obeying Him by following what He is asking us to be subject to following, because we love the Lord and we know that He is all knowledgeable, all wise, and He's out for our best interests. But a lot of times when you're coming out of narcissism, you'll find that it says obedience is better than sacrifice. What we did was we didn't want to believe the Word fully or wholly, and I'm preaching to myself first, but we didn't want to believe the Word fully, and we neglected really what the Word was telling us. So we didn't obey it the way we should have. So we ended up having to sacrifice to understand it. So we had to go through folly. We had to get hurt. We had to have troubles in our lives. We had to lose money, and we had to lose people, good people maybe, that we hurt. Hurt people. And then out of all of the destruction the narcissist placed in your life, we then, what the world will call the dark night of the soul, where you have lost so much through a relationship, you just get in a hibernation state and try to figure it all out. You learn to be by yourself and gain your independence from codependence. You eliminate all the distractions in your life. You shut off the TV. You're not hanging out with friends. You're not out partying, but you're hibernating. You're in that quiet space. And it's the same as what the Lord would say, to be in that quiet space, to meditate with Him, and He will reveal all things to you. It will get to a point to where you will find healing. He will reveal things to you out of that folly or that sacrifice that you had to do, that you did because you didn't want to obey, which you could have avoided all of this if you would have obeyed the law, the rule, the statutes, the principles that God wanted you to follow. Because you didn't, you had to sacrifice to gain that same knowledge. But then you can align regardless. If you had a sacrifice or you obeyed, you can get in that same line of a balance. You can still get there, but it's quicker and it's safer and it's more abundant to get there out of obedience. Just believe the word for what it says and don't sidetrack yourself to try to do it another way, because there is no shortcut. And in a sense, we wanted to be more lukewarm on things, and look what lukewarm got us. It got us into folly. It got us into sacrificing a lot of things in our lives before we came back to following the true principles of the word and being obedient to it. We could have been there a long time ago if we would have just aligned with the word first. But regardless, just that you would go through the sacrifice and then want to heal. A lot of people don't want to heal. So God bless you for that, because we need good people out here, but you still align. And that's what happened to me. And my point is, even if you're unawoke to what a narcissist is doing, you will be led through, like, say, clairvoyant type things. There are things that the world uses, clairvoyance and omens and intuition and stuff. But this is really the Spirit of God that's tuned you up to where you're not going to do certain things. You will move when you need to move. And it may be unknowing to you, but the Spirit of God now is leading you, and you are then avoiding them. And you may not know why you took that left turn instead of that right turn and avoided a pitfall just by that, because somebody was ready to gun you down or something. So God will protect you regardless. Because I could look at the mapping of before I knew what I was dealing with and after I knew what I was dealing with. I was aligned on both the unknowing of what the narcissist was doing in my life and the knowing of what the narcissist was doing in my life after I had left them. And I was protected toward the end of my healing. I was protected for like a year of that until or maybe 2 years of that, until waking up to what was going on in my life. And my point is I can go back to the mapping of it, and for me to avoid all of those things, it would only be by the grace of God. But see, I was following in his principles. So I was being protected through the principles and the obedience. So I know it to be true. Now it's on another level, because now I'm aware of the attacks, and so are my senses. But when they get caught, then they just play the victim. Oh, I have some kind of psychiatric disorder. And I know that sometimes it's not a cop-out, but in the case of the narcissist, they know when to act right, and they know when they can be mischievous, evil, or downright demonic, as long as they can get away with it. But when they get caught, then they, in their victimhood, talk about how they all of a sudden have some kind of disorder, or you can't talk about that situation because I'm a narcissist. Like you got some kind of diagnosis or something. If you're an asshole all the time, you're a narcissist. So they know what they're doing. They can turn it on and turn it off, and that's how you know what they're doing. So that's why this world's matrix, like I said, is set up for these evil individuals. But at the end of the day, truth and justice and divine justice will have its way with them, and it will wreck them. And a lot of times that karma, that negative reaping, because they're always trying to avoid it and have everybody else pay for it by projecting and transference of energy, because they don't want to deal with who they are, and they want to avoid any evils that they have committed and block them out of their mind and their heart. It doesn't keep them from getting these things coming back to them. It will hit them. And when it does, like I said, that pendulum keeps getting larger. And when it does, it will have many repercussions, and it will affect their family, their bloodline, their generations, their offspring. It can utterly wipe them out. And it's unfortunate, but they have really damaged and destroyed a lot of good individuals a lot of times to get where they are. And they didn't put in the work. They didn't come out the mud like a lotus flower in the middle of a swamp. It's the prettiest flower, man, and it's a bright and shiny flower, and it did it all on its own, and there's nothing out there that came out the mud like that. It was relentless on its birthing and its growth in the middle of a muddy, mucky swamp where there's nothing alive. But it shines bright for all to see because it's a warrior. It's got the spirit of a lion. It's in one and in alignment with the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Christ. So, thank you for watching. Till next time, till Jeff, peace, we out.